Part 1. The Hungry Stranger. The sun was going down behind the wheat fields of Kansas. The sky turned orange and pink, and the air smelled like summer. 7-year-old Lily Parker sat on the wooden steps of her back porch, her bare feet swinging back and forth. In her small hands, she held her favorite thing in the world, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that her mother had made just the way she liked it. Lily took a big bite and watched the fireflies start to blink in the tall grass. She loved this time of day. Her father, Ben, was still working in the barn, fixing the old tractor that always broke down. Her mother was inside making dinner, and Lily had this whole beautiful evening all to herself. She was thinking about nothing in particular when she heard a sound. It was soft, like a tiny cry. Lily stopped chewing and listened. The sound came again, this time closer. It was coming from the edge of the wheat field, where the tall golden stalks met the green grass of their backyard. Lily stood up slowly. She was not a scared kind of girl. When other kids in her class ran away from spiders, Lily would pick them up gently and put them outside. When a bird with a broken wing had landed in their yard last spring, Lily had kept it in a shoebox and fed it until it could fly again. Her mother always said that Lily had a heart too big for her little body. She walked toward the wheat field, still holding her sandwich. The evening light made everything look golden and soft. As she got closer, she saw something moving in the tall grass. At first, she thought it was a cat. It was about the size of a cat, and it had 4 legs and a tail. But as it stumbled out of the wheat and into the open, Lily saw that it was not like any cat she had ever seen. The creature's fur was silver blue, the color of moonlight on water. It shimmered and shifted as the animal moved, like it was made of something not quite solid. Its eyes were large and amber-colored, glowing softly in the fading light. They were intelligent eyes, the kind of eyes that seemed to understand more than they should. The creature was hurt. Lily could see that right away. It limped on its front leg, and there was a dark stain on its side that might have been blood, though the blood was not red like human blood. It was more like liquid silver. The creature looked at Lily with those strange, knowing eyes, and it made that soft, crying sound again. Any other child might have run away. Any other child might have screamed for their parents, but Lily was not any other child. She looked at the creature, and all she saw was someone who was hurt and hungry and scared. "Oh no," she said softly, kneeling down in the grass. "You poor thing, what happened to you?" The creature watched her carefully. It seemed ready to run if she made any sudden moves, but Lily moved slowly, the way she always did with scared animals. She sat down in the grass, making herself small and unthreatening. "It's okay," she said in her gentlest voice. "I'm not going to hurt you. Are you hungry? You look really hungry." The creature's amber eyes moved to the sandwich in her hand. Its nose twitched. It was definitely hungry. Lily looked at her sandwich. She had been looking forward to this sandwich all day. It was the perfect sandwich. The peanut butter was spread thick, and the jelly was grape, her favorite. But then she looked at the creature, so thin and weak, and she made her decision without even thinking about it. "Here," she said, tearing the sandwich in half. "You can have some. I already ate a lot today anyway." That was a small lie. Lily had actually not eaten much at lunch because Billy Morton had made fun of her lunchbox, and she had lost her appetite. But the creature did not need to know that. She held out the sandwich half, keeping her hand very still. The creature hesitated. It looked at the food, then at Lily's face, then back at the food. Slowly, carefully, it stepped closer. Its silver-blue fur brushed against Lily's fingers as it sniffed the sandwich. Then it ate. It ate carefully, not like a starving animal that gulps everything down, but like a creature that remembered what it meant to be hungry and wanted to appreciate every bite. When it finished, it looked up at Lily with something in its eyes that looked almost like gratitude. "Good right," Lily smiled. "My mom makes the best sandwiches. Do you want the rest?" She gave the creature the other half of her sandwich. It ate that too, just as carefully as before. When it was done, It made a sound that was almost like a purr, but softer and more musical. It was the most beautiful sound Lily had ever heard. "I'm going to call you Starlight," Lily decided, "because your fur looks like stars. Is that okay?" The creature looked at her. For a moment, something flickered in its amber eyes, something ancient and wise and impossibly sad. But then the moment passed, and it simply stepped closer to Lily, pressing its silver-blue head against her hand. "You can come home with me," Lily said, stroking the soft, strange fur. "But you have to be really quiet, okay? My mom doesn't like animals in the house. Well, she says she doesn't like them, but she always ends up loving them. She just needs time. So you can sleep in my room tonight, and tomorrow we'll figure everything out." She picked up the creature gently, being careful of its injured leg. It was lighter than she expected, almost like holding a bundle of warm air. It did not struggle. It simply relaxed into her arms and closed its glowing eyes. Lily carried Starlight across the backyard and up the porch steps. She could hear her mother moving around in the kitchen, the sound of pots and pans clanking together. She could hear her father's boots on the barn floor. Nobody saw her slip inside and hurry up the stairs to her bedroom. She made a little bed out of her softest blankets in the corner of her room, near the window where the moonlight came in. She set Starlight down gently and covered the creature with her favorite purple blanket. "You rest now," she whispered. "You're safe here, I promise." Starlight looked up at her with those amber eyes, and Lily could have sworn the creature understood every word. She climbed into her own bed and watched over her new friend until her eyes grew heavy and she fell asleep. She did not know that the creature in the corner of her room was not a cat at all. She did not know that Starlight was actually a scout from a civilization that had been traveling between stars for longer than humans had existed. She did not know that her simple act of sharing a sandwich had just set in motion a chain of events that would change the fate of her entire world. All Lily knew was that she had found someone who needed help, and she had helped. That was what you were supposed to do. That was what being a good person meant. Outside, the stars wheeled slowly across the Kansas sky, and somewhere far, far away, a message was being sent at the speed of light, carrying news that would reach across the galaxy. The message was simple: "I have found something worth saving. Part 2, the Observer's Report." Had been alive for 417 years. In that time, she had visited more than 200 worlds and studied over 1,000 different species. She had seen civilizations build great cities that touched the clouds, and she had seen those same cities turn to dust. She had watched empires rise and fall like waves on an ocean. She had learned that the universe was vast and cold and mostly empty, and that the things that lived in it were often cruel to each other. She had been sent to Earth 3 months ago with a simple mission. The collective, the ancient civilization she served, needed to make a decision. A great enemy called the Dominion was moving through the galaxy, destroying everything in its path. The Dominion would reach Earth in less than 1 year. They could protect this small blue planet, but protection was expensive. It meant war. It meant sacrifice. And the collective did not waste resources on species that were not worth saving. So they had sent to observe, to study, to judge. For 3 months she had watched humanity from the shadows. She had taken many forms: a bird, a dog, a cat, a fly on the wall of their meeting rooms. She had seen their leaders argue and fight over pieces of land that meant nothing in the grand scale of the universe. She had seen their wars, their weapons, their bombs that could turn cities into ash. She had seen how they poisoned their own air and water, how they cut down their own forests, how they treated each other with cruelty and hate. Her early reports to the collective had not been kind. "These creatures are primitive and violent," she had written. "They fight wars over religion, over skin color, over invisible lines they have drawn on maps. They have enough food to feed everyone on their planet, yet millions of their children go hungry. They have the intelligence to solve their problems, yet they choose instead to blame each other. My recommendation is to let the Dominion have them. They are not worth saving." The collective had received her reports without comment. They were waiting for her final decision. Then her ship had crashed. It happened during a routine low-altitude scan. A flock of birds, she had not expected birds at that altitude, had struck her small scout vessel. The damage was not severe, but it was enough to disrupt her engines and send her tumbling out of the sky. She had crashed in a wheat field somewhere in the middle of the large land mass called North America. The crash had hurt her badly. Her physical form, the small cat-like body she wore as a disguise, was damaged. Her cloaking technology had failed. She could not call for help because her communication systems were broken. She could not change into another form because she did not have the energy. All she could do was crawl away from the wreckage and hope that no humans found her before she died. She had been preparing for death when the little girl found her. Had studied humans for 3 months. She had seen them at their worst. She had seen parents hit their children. She had seen children bully each other until the weak ones cried. She had seen adults lie and cheat and steal. She thought she understood what humans were. But she had never seen anything like this child. The girl was small, even for a human youngling. She had brown hair tied in 2 braids and a round face with freckles across her nose. Her clothes were simple and slightly dirty from playing outside. There was nothing special about her, nothing that would make her stand out from millions of other human children. And yet when she saw a strange creature with silver fur and glowing eyes, clearly not from this world, she did not run. She did not scream. She did not throw rocks or try to hurt the stranger. She shared her food. Had watched the girl's face carefully as she tore her sandwich in half. There was no calculation in the child's eyes, no expectation of reward. She was not sharing because she wanted something in return. She was not sharing because someone had told her to. She was sharing simply because another living creature was hungry and she had food, and that was all the reason she needed. In 400 years, had never seen anything like it. That night, as the little girl slept with one arm draped protectively over her new pet, lay awake and thought about everything she had seen. Yes, humans were violent. Yes, they fought wars and polluted their planet and treated each other badly. All of that was true. But somewhere in this species, there was also this. There was a little girl who saw a stranger in need and gave without asking for anything back. There was kindness so pure and natural that it needed no reason, no justification, no reward. There was something that had almost forgotten existed in the universe. She had seen cruelty in humans, but she had also just experienced compassion. And compassion, she realized, was far more rare and precious than she had understood. Using the last of her energy, activated the emergency beacon in her damaged communication system. It was weak, barely strong enough to reach the nearest relay station, but it would have to do. "This is Scout, identification code 7739, she transmitted. "I am amending my previous assessment of the species known as humans. I was wrong. I was looking at them the wrong way." She paused, watching the little girl sleep peacefully beside her. "I have spent 3 months studying their violence, their failures, their worst qualities. I judged them by their darkest moments. But tonight, a human child found me dying in a field. She had no reason to help me. She did not know what I was. She could have been afraid. Instead, she gave me half of her food, food that she clearly wanted for herself, simply because I was hungry." Felt something strange in her chest. It took her a moment to recognize the feeling. It was hope. In 4 centuries of service, I have never encountered such unconditional kindness. Among all the species I have studied, I have never seen a creature share its food with a stranger simply because the stranger needed it. The do not do this. The Dominion certainly does not do this. But this small human child, who has never traveled beyond her own planet, who knows nothing of the universe, did it without even thinking. She took a breath, knowing that her next words would change the fate of billions. "I believe this quality, this capacity for compassion, is worth more than any technology or resource. I believe it is worth protecting. I am requesting that the collective intervene on behalf of Earth. These humans are violent and primitive, yes, but they are also capable of extraordinary kindness. And I think, given time, that kindness could change everything. The message was sent. Now all could do was wait and heal and hope. She looked at the sleeping child one more time. The girl had called her Starlight. It was a simple name, a child's name, but found that she liked it. She closed her amber eyes and slept, truly rested, for the first time in a very long time. When morning came, everything would change. Part 3. Everything transforms. Lily woke up to the sound of her father's voice. He was not yelling exactly, but there was something strange in the way he said her name. He said it slowly, carefully, like he was trying very hard to stay calm. "Lily," he said, "sweetheart, I need you to wake up, and I need you to tell me why there is a spaceship in my wheat field." Lily rubbed her eyes and sat up in bed. The morning light was pouring through her window, and for a moment, everything seemed normal. Then she remembered Starlight. She looked at the corner of her room where she had made the little bed of blankets. The blankets were empty. She looked up at her father. He was standing in the doorway, his face pale, his eyes wide. He was not looking at Lily. He was looking at something behind her. Lily turned around slowly. Starlight was no longer a small silver-blue cat. Where the injured creature had been, there now stood a tall, graceful being that Lily had never seen before. The being had skin that shimmered like moonlight, shifting between silver and pale blue as it moved. Its eyes were still amber, still glowing, still kind, but everything else had changed. "Do not be afraid," the being said. Its voice was soft and musical like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "I am still your friend. I am still the one you saved." Lily stared for a long moment. Then she tilted her head and asked the most important question. "Starlight, is that really you?" The being smiled. It was a small smile, almost surprised, like smiling was something it had forgotten how to do. "Yes, little one, I am Starlight, or rather I am of the collective, but I think I prefer the name you gave me." Ben Parker had not moved from the doorway. His mouth was opening and closing, but no words were coming out. Finally, he managed to speak. There's a spaceship in my field. There are more of you, walking around my barn." "Yes," said calmly. "My people have come. Your daughter's kindness has saved your world. We have much to discuss." The next few hours were the strangest of Lily's young life. More came into the house. They were all tall and graceful, with that same shimmering skin and those same intelligent eyes. They moved carefully, trying not to frighten the humans. They spoke softly and explained everything as simply as they could. Lily's mother had fainted when she first saw the aliens. When she woke up, she fainted again. By the third time, she managed to stay conscious, though she kept her hand pressed against her heart like it might leap out of her chest. "So let me understand this," Ben said, sitting at the kitchen table with his head in his hands. "You're aliens, from space, and you've been watching us, and there's another group of aliens coming to destroy us, and the only reason you're helping us is because my daughter gave your friend a sandwich." "That is correct," said. She was sitting next to Lily, who was eating cereal like it was a perfectly normal morning. "Though I would say it is not just because of the sandwich. It is because of what the sandwich represents. Your daughter showed compassion to a stranger without expecting anything in return. In the entire galaxy, this is the rarest and most precious quality. It is worth protecting." Outside, the noise was growing louder. Helicopters circled overhead. Military trucks rumbled down the country road toward the farm. The whole world, it seemed, was coming to Kansas. Within a few hours, the Parker farm had become the most important place on Earth. Soldiers set up barriers around the wheat field. Men and women in suits arrived in black cars and demanded to speak with whoever was in charge. Cameras pointed at the sky, where the silver ship hung silently above the clouds. But they would not speak to the generals. They would not speak to the presidents or prime ministers who called on special phones. They would not speak to the scientists who came with their equipment and their questions. They would only speak to Lily. "I don't understand," said a man in a uniform with many medals on his chest. He was called General and he was not used to being ignored. "She's just a child. She can't possibly represent humanity in this situation. We need real leaders. We need diplomats. We need—" "You need nothing," interrupted, her voice still soft but now carrying an edge of steel. "In our culture, the one who shows mercy becomes the voice of their people. Your child showed mercy when she could have shown fear. She shared what little she had with a stranger who looked nothing like her. That is leadership. That is diplomacy. That is everything you claim to value but so rarely practice." General's face turned red, but he said nothing more. Lily did not really understand why everyone was making such a big deal about this. She had just given a hungry animal some food. That was what nice people did. Her mom always told her to share. Her teacher always told her to be kind. She was just doing what she had been taught. But they looked at her like she was something special. And the more they explained, the more Lily began to understand that maybe, in a very strange way, she was. "The Dominion is coming," told the crowd of human leaders who had gathered on the Parker lawn. "They are a force that consumes worlds. They take everything, your resources, your people, your future, and they leave nothing behind. They have destroyed civilizations far more advanced than yours." Fear rippled through the crowd. Someone asked in a shaking voice how long they had. "6 of your months," said. "But do not lose hope. We are here to help you. We will share our technology, our knowledge, our weapons. We will stand beside you when the Dominion arrives. All because of what one small girl did on a summer evening." Everyone looked at Lily. She was holding her mother's hand on one side and her father's hand on the other. She was still wearing her pajamas, the ones with the little stars on them. She looked very small surrounded by all these adults with their important uniforms and worried faces. "Starlight," she said, looking up "does this mean you can't be my cat anymore?" Knelt down so that she was at Lily's eye level. Despite everything, the fate of the world, the coming invasion, the weight of billions of lives, she smiled again. "I will always be your friend, little one," she said. "No matter what form I take. You saved me when no one else would. I will never forget that. None of us will ever forget that." Lily nodded seriously, the way only a 7-year-old can. "Okay," she said, "but I still want you to sleep in my room sometimes. Is that allowed?" Somewhere in the crowd, General made a choking sound, but just laughed, a beautiful, musical sound that made everyone who heard it feel a little bit better. "Yes," she said, "that is allowed." And so began the strangest alliance in the history of the universe, between an ancient civilization and a little girl who just wanted everyone to be friends. Part 4. The Coming Storm. The months that followed were like nothing the world had ever seen. They kept their promise. They shared everything with humanity, technology that made all of Earth's machines look like toys, clean energy that could power cities without pollution, medicine that could cure diseases that had killed millions, food that could grow in any climate, in any soil, enough to feed every hungry person on the planet. For the first time in history, the nations of Earth stopped fighting each other. There was no more time for old arguments. There was no more reason for jealousy or hate. They had a common enemy now, and that enemy was coming. Lily's life changed in ways she could never have imagined. She moved with her family to a special building in New York City, close to the United Nations headquarters, where the leaders of the world gathered to plan for the future. She had tutors who taught her about history and science and diplomacy. She had bodyguards who followed her everywhere she went. She had cameras pointed at her face every time she stepped outside. But she was still just Lily. She still liked peanut butter sandwiches. She still missed her farm in Kansas. She still talked to every day, asking questions that adults were too afraid to ask. "What are the Dominion like?" Lily asked one evening. They were sitting on the roof of the building, looking up at the stars. The ship still floated in the sky, a silver shadow against the darkness. Was quiet for a long time. "They are old," she finally said. "Older than my people, older than almost anything in the galaxy. They have been traveling from world to world for so long that they have forgotten where they came from. They have forgotten what it means to build, to create, to grow. All they know how to do is take." "But why?" Lily asked. "Why do they hurt people?" "Because they are hungry," said. "Not hungry like you and I get hungry. Their hunger is deeper. They consume resources, yes, minerals, water, energy, but they also consume hope. They feed on the fear of other species. They have been doing this for so long that they no longer know any other way to live." Lily thought about this. She thought about the bullies at her old school, the ones who were mean because they were scared and lonely on the inside. She thought about the stray cat she had found once, the one that hissed and scratched at first because it had been hurt so many times before. "Maybe they're just really, really sad," she said quietly. Looked at her with surprise. "That is a kind way to think about creatures who have destroyed 47 worlds." "My mom says that mean people are usually sad people," Lily explained. "She says that hurt people hurt people. Maybe the Dominion is hurt, and that's why they hurt everyone else." There was silence again. In all her centuries of life, she had never considered this possibility. The Dominion was the enemy. The Dominion was evil. That was all anyone had ever told her, and that was all she had ever believed. But what if this child was right? 1 month before the Dominion was scheduled to arrive, a great meeting was held at the United Nations. Every leader of every nation was there. Every general, every scientist, every advisor. And in the front row, wearing a yellow dress that her mother had picked out, sat Lily Parker, the 7-year-old ambassador of Earth. "We have prepared as best we can," General said, pointing to maps and diagrams on a giant screen. "With technology, we have built a defense system that circles the entire planet. We have ships, we have weapons, we are ready to fight." Other generals nodded, other leaders clapped, but Lily noticed that was not clapping. She was standing in the corner of the room, her silver face unreadable. "Starlight," Lily said, raising her hand the way she did in school. "You look sad, what's wrong?" The room went quiet. Everyone turned to look at the. "Your defenses are impressive," said slowly. "But I must be honest with you. The Dominion has faced defenses before. They have fought wars against civilizations far more advanced than this one. They have never lost, not once in 10,000 years." Fear spread through the room like cold water. People whispered to each other. Some looked angry, some looked like they wanted to cry. "So we're just going to die," someone shouted. "There's no hope." "I did not say that," replied. "I said that fighting them in the traditional way has never worked. Perhaps it is time to try something different." "Like what?" General demanded. "You want us to surrender, just let them take our planet without a fight?" Lily stood up from her chair. She was so small compared to all the adults in the room, but when she spoke, everyone listened. "What if we were nice to them?" Silence, complete and total silence. "Excuse me," General said, his eyebrows climbing up his forehead. "Starlight said they're hungry," Lily explained, her voice clear and serious. "She said they've been hungry for a long, long time, and she said they feed on fear. So what if we didn't give them fear? What if we gave them something else instead?" "Like what?" someone asked. "Like food," Lily said. "Like kindness. Like what you're supposed to give everyone, even people who are mean to you. That's what my Sunday school teacher says. She says you have to love your enemies." Some of the adults laughed. It was a nervous laugh, the kind of laugh people make when they don't know what else to do. But was not laughing. She was staring at Lily with those amber eyes, and there was something in her expression that looked almost like hope. "In 400 years," they said quietly, "no one has ever suggested showing compassion to the Dominion. Everyone assumes they cannot be reasoned with. Everyone assumes they are beyond reach. But what if everyone is wrong? What if the one thing the Dominion needs is the one thing no one has ever offered them? You can't be serious, General said. You want us to offer sandwiches to an alien invasion fleet. No, said. I want us to offer something more valuable. I want us to offer what this child offered me when I was dying in a field. I want us to offer mercy. The debate went on for hours. Some people thought the idea was insane. Some people thought it was worth trying. Some people said that if they were going to die anyway, they might as well die being kind. In the end, they came to a decision. They would prepare both options. They would have their weapons ready just in case. But when the Dominion arrived, the first thing they would do was not attack. The first thing they would do was talk. And the one who would do the talking was a 7-year-old girl in a yellow dress, holding a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. The Dominion was coming, and for the first time in 10,000 years, someone was going to try something different. Are you scared? Her father asked her that night as he tucked her into bed. Lily thought about it. A little bit, she admitted. But Starlight says that being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you do the right thing even when you are scared. Ben Parker kissed his daughter's forehead. When did you get so smart? I don't know, Lily said, yawning. Maybe when I met an alien cat. She fell asleep with a smile on her face, dreaming of stars and spaceships and a universe that was about to change forever. Part 5. The transformation complete. The day the Dominion arrived, the sky turned dark. 1,000 ships appeared above Earth, blocking out the sun like a swarm of locusts made of metal and shadow. Each ship was massive, bigger than any city on the planet. They hung in the air without moving, without making a sound, waiting. People all around the world looked up at the sky and felt their hearts fill with fear. This was it. This was the end. Everything they had ever known, everything they had ever loved was about to be destroyed. But in a small studio in New York, surrounded by cameras and microphones that would broadcast her voice to every corner of the planet and beyond, a 7-year-old girl stood perfectly still and tried not to drop her sandwich. Are you ready? Asked standing beside her. Lily nodded. She was wearing her yellow dress, the same one she had worn to all the important meetings. Her hair was in 2 braids just like always. She looked exactly like what she was, a small human child, young and ordinary and completely out of her depth. But she was also more than that. She was the first human in history to show kindness to an alien from the stars. She was the reason they had come to help, and now she was humanity's last hope. Remember, said softly, you do not need to convince them. You only need to make them listen. That alone will be more than anyone has ever accomplished. Lily took a deep breath. Okay, she said, let's do this. The broadcast began. Every screen on Earth showed Lily's face, but more importantly, every screen on every Dominion ship showed her too. They had made sure of that. They had hacked into the Dominion's communication systems, forcing them to watch and listen whether they wanted to or not. Lily looked into the camera. She did not see the millions of humans watching from their homes. She did not see the generals packing nervously in their control rooms. She did not see the alien creatures in their massive ships, their weapons charged and ready to fire. All she saw was the lens of the camera, and in her mind she pretended she was just talking to one person, one lonely, hungry, scared person who needed a friend. Hi, she said, waving just a little. My name is Lily. I'm 7 years old. I live on Earth and I guess you're here to hurt us. She paused, gathering her thoughts. I know you've done this before. I know you've hurt a lot of people on a lot of different planets. My friend Starlight told me about it. She said you've been doing it for a really, really long time. Like thousands of years. That's such a long time to be doing the same thing over and over. In the command center of the Dominion fleet, the Supreme Commander watched the screen with eyes that had not blinked in centuries. He had ordered the destruction of 47 worlds. He had consumed the resources of countless civilizations. He had never hesitated, never doubted, never questioned what he was doing. But now, for reasons he could not understand, he was listening to a child. "I don't know why you hurt people," Lily continued, "but I think maybe it's because you're hungry. Starlight said you're always hungry, that you can never eat enough. That sounds really hard. I get cranky when I'm hungry, and I can usually eat whenever I want. I can't imagine being hungry all the time." She held up her sandwich. It was peanut butter and jelly, of course. Her mother had made it that morning, spreading the peanut butter extra thick, just the way Lily liked. "I know this probably isn't enough for all of you. I'm not dumb. I know you can't really feed a whole planet to an alien army with one sandwich, but this is what I have, and I want you to have it." She took a bite, just a small one, and then held the sandwich toward the camera like she was offering it to a friend. "Actually, wait, that's rude. My mom says you should never offer food without tasting it first. Now you know it's good." Behind the camera made a sound that might have been a laugh or might have been a sob. Around the world, people watching the broadcast wiped tears from their eyes. This little girl, facing the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy, was worried about being polite. "Here's the thing," Lily said, putting the sandwich down. "I think you forgot something important. I think you forgot that you don't have to be this way. You've been taking stuff for so long that you forgot you could ask. You could share. You could make friends." She looked directly into the camera, her eyes clear and bright. "We would share with you. We really would. We have so much food here on Earth. We have water and air and sunshine. And we have something else too. We have people who care about each other, who help each other, who give things to strangers just because the strangers are hungry." Her voice grew stronger, more confident. "I know because I did it. I found Starlight when she was hurt and hungry, and I gave her my sandwich. I didn't know she was an alien. I didn't know she was going to save our world. I just knew she needed help and I could help. That's it. That's all I knew." In the Dominion Command Center, something was happening. The Supreme Commander's hand, which had been resting on the button that would give the order to fire, was trembling. He did not understand what was happening to him. He had not felt anything in thousands of years. He had thought he was empty inside, just like everyone had always told him. But this child was reaching something deep within him, something he had forgotten existed. "So this is my offer," Lily said. "You can destroy us. You can take everything and leave nothing behind like you always do, or you can do something different. You can come down here and meet us. You can taste our food and see our world and learn our names. You can find out what it feels like to have friends instead of victims." She smiled, a small, hopeful smile. "I know which one I would choose, but I guess that's up to you." The broadcast ended. For a long moment, nothing happened. The Dominion ships hung in the sky, silent and still. The world held its breath. Then slowly, one of the ships began to descend. It was a small ship, just a shuttle. It landed in a field outside New York, a field that by pure chance was filled with golden wheat, just like the field where Lily had first found Starlight. The door opened, and out stepped a creature that looked nothing like a human, nothing like anything anyone had ever seen. It was massive and dark and terrifying, with too many eyes and too many arms and a mouth full of teeth. But it was also shaking, shaking like it was afraid, shaking like it was feeling something for the first time in centuries. The Supreme Commander of the Dominion, the Destroyer of Worlds, looked at the small girl standing in front of him. She was holding out her sandwich, half of it, the same half she had offered on the broadcast. "Why?" he asked, his voice like grinding rocks. "Why would you do this? We came to destroy you. Why would you offer us kindness?" Lily shrugged the way only a 7-year-old could. "Because that's what you do," she said simply. "When someone is hungry, you share. My mom taught me that." The Supreme Commander stared at her for a long time. And then, slowly, gently, with hands that had ordered the death of billions, he took the sandwich from her fingers. He did not eat it right away. He just held it, looking at it like it was the most precious thing in the universe. And then he spoke a word that had no translation in any Dominion language, a word they had never needed before. "Thank you," he said. The war that never was became known as the Kindness Convergence. The Dominion did not attack that day or any day after. Instead, they stayed. They learned. They changed. It took years. There were setbacks and misunderstandings and moments when everything almost fell apart. But humanity kept offering kindness, and eventually, the Dominion learned how to accept it. Years later, Lily Parker grew up to become the first galactic ambassador of Earth. She traveled to dozens of worlds, met hundreds of species, and helped build a universe where compassion was valued more than power. And whenever anyone asked her the secret to her success, she always gave the same answer. "It's not complicated," she would say, smiling. "When someone is hungry, you share your sandwich. Everything else follows from that." The universe is vast and cold and mostly empty, but it does not have to be cruel. Somewhere in the darkness, there is always a light. Sometimes, that light is as simple as a little girl who knew what everyone else had forgotten. That kindness is stronger than fear. That love is stronger than hate. And that sharing a sandwich can change everything.